The Red Raiders will once again be without QB1 Behren Morton, this time against Oklahoma State on Saturday afternoon at Jones AT&T. It'll be Will Hammond getting his third career college start. What do we need to see from him as QB1 for Texas Tech in this matchup? And maybe more importantly, what we need to see Mac Leftwich do with Will Hammond at the helm? And is there a growing concern within Red Raider Nation about the long-term health of Behren Morton and his outlook moving forward? Let's discuss. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Red and Black Report. Appreciate y'all tuning in to today's video. There is a lot to discuss on the injury front when it comes to QB1, specifically for this Oklahoma State game. If you want to stay in the know on all things Texas Tech football all year long, whether it's on the gridiron, portal, high school recruiting, injury front, and more, we've got you covered right here on the largest group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube in the Red and Black Report. All right, let's get to the Pete Thamel. Update that was unfortunate on Thursday morning. Sources, Texas Tech will start quarterback Will Hammond against Oklahoma State, which will be his second straight start. Behren Morton, leg, will be available for Texas Tech and is improving. Now, I did say in the open that should there be concern about Behren Morton and his long-term health for Texas Tech, I probably could have phrased that better. Hand up for accountability. What I mean by that is personally, okay, and this is me, you can call me out in the comments if you disagree, I thought it was imperative that Behren Morton see the field against Oklahoma State. Reason being is this: you're going to play your two most important games of the season after this one. Will Hammond should be able to BTA Oklahoma State. I'm not worried about that. What I'm more worried about is the fact that really Behren Morton's not going to have an in-game snap in 3 weeks? Okay, and that's concerning going to a place in Manhattan, Kansas, where historically you've struggled. And that personally frightens me a little bit, just from the standpoint of, okay, how healthy is he? We're not going to know really until we see him live in game, right? We're just not going to know. And in order for Texas Tech to reach their ceiling, I have been at the forefront of saying this, and a lot of people did not agree with me. I'm going to chalk this up as a W for me right now as it stands, and maybe it'll come back to bite me in the ass later. But Behren Morton is 100% needed for the Red Raiders to reach their ceiling this season. Period. End of story. There's no debate in my mind. If Texas Tech wants to win the Big 12 title and the Red Raiders want to compete in the college football playoff and for a national championship, you need Behren Morton. That is not a knock on Will Hammond. It is not. It is that Behren Morton is far more experienced and he is more suited for this offense as it stands right now. Next year, I'm sure Mac Leftwich will make some adjustments and really put Will Hammond in his best interest at the forefront of game planning for the offense. I'm not debating that. But right now, Behren Morton is the guy. And it concerns me quite a bit that he is going to go into Manhattan, Kansas without any live in-game reps for damn near a month. Okay, it's 3 weeks, but that's concerning to me. What do we need to see from Will Hammond, though, to make me feel better about where he's at in terms of his development, right? First and foremost, let him throw the damn ball downfield, Mac. Please. Stop with this underneath stuff. Get the ball downfield. Push the ball downfield to your playmakers, most notably Reggie Virgil and Caleb Payday Douglas. Now, Terrence Carter Jr. is doubtful for this game, so maybe you see more of John Carlos Miller II out there. Obviously, you'll see Coy. Maybe they go more 4 wide receiver sets, and you see Micah Hudson, Colby Valson, right? Like, you're going to see more guys out there, and I'm very interested to see how often they do go with 4 wide receivers. That being said, you have to push the ball downfield. Why? Because it's going to open up the running game. And I get maybe you're not going to want to put a lot of things on tape here. This isn't about putting things on tape for me. This is about making sure Will Hammond, who has been needed multiple times this season due to unfortunate injuries to Behren Morton's leg and knee and whatever it may be, right? To make sure that he can come in and has the confidence, if necessary, to come in and throw the ball downfield. Okay, because let's face it, watching that game last week at Arizona State, they were very one-dimensional. in the passing game. And what I mean by that is everything felt like it was 10 yards or shorter outside of maybe what? 4 or 5 throws. And that's just something you can't do with this offense if you want to have long-term success, specifically if you're counting on the run game the way that you are. Okay. You have to be able to push the ball downfield. You have to create those explosives outside the numbers and really just 20 plus yards down the field, because that will open up things dramatically for Cam Dickey, for Jacoby Williams, and shoot, even Will Hammond in the run game. By the way, Mac, I know I've said this multiple times this week, and I'm sorry I sound like a broken record. There is no reason on God's green earth that Will Hammond should be your leading rusher in a football game. You need to use Cam Dickey and Jacoby Williams outside the tackles. They have to. Okay, I love an inside zone run as much as anybody, but you got to run outside to make the defense respect you and not load the box as much in the area of the, well, easiest sight line for your quarterback. Okay, the thing is, for me, you have to be able to push the ball downfield. That will open up running lanes not only for Cam and Jacoby, but also Will. That's what I'm most really watching for in this matchup, because there's no doubt in my mind Will Hammond should again BTA the Cowboys this weekend. Texas Tech is what, 38.5-point favorites last I checked. Maybe that line has moved a little bit, but Will Hammond should obliterate the Cowboys in this matchup. This is a confidence game for the Red Raiders. A get back on track. Make sure you have your fundamentals right before you go into the most important 2-game stretch the Red Raiders as a football program have had arguably in past 15 years. That's not a hyperbole. You historically suck at Kansas State, and then you play BYU after. If you want to make the college football playoff and play in the Big 12 title game, you have to play your A game at Manhattan, regardless of what the Wildcats look like, right? Regardless of it, right? And you have to play your A game against BYU at home. How do you get there? By playing your A game and really mitigating the mistakes that you made offensively and also in the secondary against the Oklahoma State Cowboys. You have to treat this like a real game. I'm not telling them something they don't know. They're going to 100%. But you need to see those improvements, most notably in the downfield passing game and getting some explosives for Texas Tech for the confidence factor. Your offensive line has to be better in pass pro. And also, you need to run outside the tackles. Defensively, you have to have a better showing from your secondary, most notably your safeties. Not trying to call one individual out, but Brendan Jordan didn't have his best game, right, against Arizona State. He has to improve. I think he will. I also think Will Hammond will as well, as he will get his 3rd career start in the Scarlet and Black. This time, his first home start. Will Hammond has never started a game at home. You got to think about it. His first start was in the Liberty Bowl against Arkansas last year when Behren Morton didn't play, and then last week at Arizona State. He has never started a game at Jones AT&T. That will change on Saturday against Oklahoma State, where Texas Tech is heavy favorites. Again, the big thing I need to see in this, I need to see explosives, okay? And what I mean by that, again, get the ball downfield to your playmakers. It doesn't sound like you're going to have Terrence Carter Jr. in this matchup, as he is listed as doubtful, but you're going to need to push the ball downfield, garner that confidence, not only from Will Hammond, but everyone else in the offense ahead of the 2 biggest games, again, in 15 years for this program, starting with Kansas State next week and then BYU the following week. But again, the big news for Texas Tech football, Will Hammond will start for the 3rd time in his Scarlet and Black career. You can see it on your screen right there before we head out. Texas Tech will start QB Will Hammond against Oklahoma State, which will be his 2nd straight start. Behren Morton will be available for Texas Tech and is improving. I'll tell you this right now. If you don't have Behren Morton at Kansas State, things are going to be very interesting. And that's going to be a major talking point going into next week. But business must be handled first, as Texas Tech cannot take Oklahoma State lightly. The Red Raiders, I think, get back in a major way in this one and really make sure they're on their P's and Q's when it comes to everything. Because, again, big-time stretch coming up for Texas Tech. But it starts on Saturday against Oklahoma State with number 15, Will Hammond, at the helm. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video and hit that subscribe button to stay in the know on all things Texas Tech football all year long. And, oh, by the way, you can stay in the know on all things Texas Tech men's basketball as well. Got our season preview for the Red Raiders on the hardwood here on the channel. Be sure to go check that out. We'll have multiple other videos surrounding Texas Tech men's basketball. So, again, Stay in the know, not only on football, but men's basketball, whether it's in the portal, high school recruiting, injury news, or anything you need to know. We've got you covered right here on the largest group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube in the Red and Black Report. All right, I'm RC Maxfield reminding you, as always, stay safe and Wreck 'em Tech.